The real liver king is Paul Saladino.
Yeah.
He's really eating that. And go to Paul Saladino's Instagram, like show some pictures of his physique. If you want to look like that guy, no hormone replacement, just gets sunlight outside. He's super healthy. All he eats is organic fruits and meat and organ meat, and that's it.
Yeah. And one thing I think Paul would be on board with, but is like, just because it's not ancestrally consistent to be on exogenous synthetic TRT, it's not like you should live in a suboptimal state or quality of life because you're trying to be ancestrally consistent.
Right. Like, look at Paul. That's healthy. That's real. Like, what that guy's built like, that is 100% natural and achievable. Yeah. And he really does. Like, he lives in Costa Rica. He surfs every day. He eats nothing but healthy food.
I feel like our podcast, it's the thumbnails on the bottom right there, but I grilled him pretty hard on, like, in a respectful way, I felt, of, like, a lot of the incongruencies or concerns about, the diet model and, like, micronutrient shortcomings. Like, there are certain more difficult things to get in through, like, a nose to tail diet, like magnesium, and, like, we touched on a lot of that stuff. And
does he recommend supplementation with magnesium to compensate for that, or how does he handle that?
He thinks that the RDAs for them, like many other vitamins and minerals, are potentially off because he does a lot of blood chemistry to see where he's at, and he's, like, quite hyper aware of his, like, biofeedback and kind of knows what's going on, and he's never been deficient from what he can tell. So he believes that, like, if warranted, I'm sure he would recommend it, but he thinks that he gets enough from his diet. But he's not opposed to supplementation when warranted. Like, there are certain individuals who might benefit from, I don't know, extra choline if they, if your diet too is, even if it's nose to tail, if you're trying to lose weight or something and you're in, like, a little bit of a deficit or whatever, like, maybe you might be a little bit deficient in one micronutrient, and then it's, justified to take a supplement with it. Like, I'm sure he would be on board with that. And that is the whole premise of, the supplements to begin with, is if you don't want to eat like a fucking heart, like, here's heart.
Right. And the fact that you could swallow it very easily and mix it with all your other supplements. Yeah. What is a natural source of magnesium?
Off the top of my head, as far as what I would say is, like, the most magnesium dense foods, it's tough to say off the top of my head. I kind of forget exactly.
The best way to get it?
Yeah, like, for me, I use a magnesium bisglycinate supplement personally, just because I use this thing called Chronometer, and I plug my diet in, and then it shows a full breakdown of my micronutrient proportions in terms of minerals as well as micronutrients, like all the vitamins. And for me, it's even difficult to get my magnesium in. So it's like, if I need to backfill that with a supplement, like, I feel it justified.
Do you ever do Epsom salt baths?
No, never.
That's a great way to get magnesium.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the things that I found from doing the isolation tank, because a sensory deprivation tank has 1,000 pounds of magnesium in that water.
Okay.
It's just, we have just bags of Epsom salts. It's all fucking magnesium. So you're pouring that stuff into the water, and then you float in it.
And it, like, is...
See if there's an article on magnesium from Epsom salts baths.
And you can, like,
absorb. Yeah, your skin absorbs it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's enough and how often you'd have to do it, but I know that a lot of people get a benefit from Epsom salts baths. It's supposed to be very good for the muscles. What is that, Jamie?
No evidence.
No evidence that it absorbs?
Yeah.
Interesting. While relaxing in a hot bath may help soothe aching muscles, there's no evidence that people absorb bath water magnesium through their skin. Interesting.
If you look up the molecular mass of magnesium, I would be doubtful that it's low enough to actually, like, absorb transdermally.
That's interesting.
There's this rough rule. It's like, if the molecular mass of a molecule is under 500 Daltons, then it can absorb through the skin and get, like, absorbed.
Go back to what you just said. Look at this. Magnesium can be absorbed through the skin for a convenient and effective way to increase your magnesium levels.
But
when
that's
magnesium
like,
is absorbed through the skin, this process is called transdermal absorption.
From a company that sells a topical magnesium product.
Is that what it is?
Type in magnesium molecular mass and then just see what comes up.
Interesting. It's so funny when you can read stuff like that and just think
molecular weight.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So, like, from the surface, you would think that this is something that could absorb transdermally.
Because it's, what is that number? 24.305U? What does that mean?
Like, I'm more familiar with...
Atomic mass units?
Yeah, with Daltons. I know, like, the 500 number is the threshold whereby it's supposed to be able to absorb. Which I think is like also written as grams per mole off the top of my head.
So with that level, you believe it is absorbable transdermally.
I would think.
So why did that other article? See,
Not
that's
my
where it gets so
expertise, by the way. As
I
far as
understand, I appreciate that. But isn't it funny, though, that like the first result was it can't be absorbed, and the second result was it can, and then you look at the molecular weight, and you looked at it, and you're like, well, it looks like it can.
Yeah.
Exercise performance and recovery while relaxing in a hot bath may help soothe aching muscles. There's no evidence that people absorb bath water magnesium through the skin. On the other hand, oral supplementation can affect this, but this is the same article.
No. That's where it came from. I was trying to find why they were saying it.
What year is this?
That was Healthline. This is a
2017. Interesting.
Let's see what this says.
I don't know if they're right. I bet they're a bunch of nerds that don't even lift. Shut your mouth, nerds.